Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel Code for Tech Solutions. Today in this video we are going to cover very interesting topic, and our today's topic is building a full stack web app with React.js, Python and MongoDB. It's a complete guide and tutorial which will help us to create a full stack application using React.js as a front end, Python Django as a backend and MongoDB as a database. Now these are some list of full stack applications I have created so far. So you can see, you can watch the full stack application which you are looking for. These are some list. Like I have created full stack application using combination of React.js plus Spring Boot, Angular plus Node.js, Angular plus Spring Boot, React.js plus Node.js, and React.js plus Python. So you can check the videos which you are looking for. Now let us see what are all prerequisites for today's video. Like for this full stack application, as an editor we are going to use Visual Studio Code, and for the front end technologies we are going to use React.js with version 18 plus, and React table library we are going to use, and Axios library we are going to use for the front end side. And for the backend side we are going to use Python as a backend language, and Django REST framework. These are the web frameworks we are going to use, and we are going to use Mongo engine to connect and interact with the MongoDB database. This is the Python library we are going to use. Now next thing we are going to use MongoDB as a database, and for that we are going to use MongoDB Compass, which is a tool which will provide a user interface to create a MongoDB database and do some other operations on the MongoDB database. This is about all the prerequisites which we are going to use for this entire full stack application. Now these are some points which we are going to cover from sequence. Like first we will see our architecture diagram. Next I will show you small user interface demo. Next we will create our MongoDB database on the backend side, and next we are going to create our backend application using Python, and these are some points which we are going to cover. Like we will first create our backend application, next we will configure the MongoDB database in Python app in settings.python file. Next we will implement CRUD operations, like we will create a model serializer. Instead of model we can say it's a document because it's a MongoDB database. So we can create a model serializer and a view, and we will configure the URLs as well. Next we will test our backend application using Django REST framework user interface. On the front end side we are going to create our front end application using React.js. We will create a table using React table, populate it with columns and data, and we will integrate the front end API functionality with backend API. And we are going to implement these core functionalities like search filters, sorting and pagination. We are going to use hooks and functions available in React table library, and with the help of that we are going to implement CRUD operations as well as the searching, sorting, pagination functionality. And finally we will test our application functionality end to end from UI browser and verify the result and response in the database side as well. Now this is about our architecture, and we are going to create our atom system, in which on the front end side we are going to create atom underscore web. It's a front end application we are going to create using React.js, and in that we are going to use React table library. So with the help of React table library we are going to create a table, and we are going to use functions and hooks available in that, and we are going to use create a CRUD operations, and also we are going to implement some advanced features like searching, sorting and pagination with the help of this React table library. Next we are also going to use Axios library. With the help of Axios library we are going to give a call to our backend REST APIs which we have written on the in Python side. So we are going to give a call from our React.js library Axios from our front end application. Now this is about front end that we are going to implement using React.js. Next on the backend side we are going to create atom underscore service backend application using Python Django, and in that we are going to use Python as a backend language, Django and Django REST framework. These are the web frameworks we are going to use, which will help us to create a web application in Python backend application side. And these frameworks like will also help us to create and build the REST APIs on the Python application side. So this is about the backend side which we are going to implement, and we are going to implement all the CRUD APIs or operations on the backend side inside this atom service. Okay. and we are going to use Django REST framework user interface to test our CRUD APIs or operations. So this is about backend application which we are going to create using Python. Now our backend application will interact with the MongoDB database, and here we are going to use Mongo engine library which is available in Python, with which we are going to connect with the MongoDB database. Okay, so this is about the overall architecture we are going to create from scratch in this video. So I will request you all, please do not uh, like uh, do, please do not miss any step in between, because if you follow all the steps you will create the similar kind of application which we are going to create in this video. Please do not forget to like, subscribe and share, because you may forget at the end of the video. So I will request you all to please like, subscribe and share. Now let us see, I will show you a small demo of our application, how it will look like. So this is how our application will look like. Like here, this is the user interface, and here we can see this is our header part. This is add and edit panel, and this add and edit panel we are going to use for creating the atom as well as editing the atom. Next thing, this is the search filter, and this is the table. These are the columns, and this is the table data along with the action buttons like edit and delete. Now below this table we have this pagination part with different buttons like first, previous, next and last. Now here we can add our first entry. Now let me show the database side as well, so that you will have. Okay, so this is the documents of we have on the database side. Now let us add one more document inside this one. Now here we can add one atom like elite, dragonfly, and here description we can say it's an HP laptop, and we can say price somewhere 87,000, and we can add it. Now we can see the record is added as an last entry. Okay, so this is the previous and this is the last one. Okay, now if you want to check into the database side, we can see as an database. Yes, this is the last entry which we have just created. Okay, so this is about addition part. Now if you want to create one more record, let us do that. Like we can use aspire, and for description aspire we can say it's Acer laptop, and price we can say somewhere 46,000. We can add. Now we can check the last entry. Yes, we can see the entry is added for aspire, and same entry we can see into the database side. Okay, seems good. Now this is about addition, how we can add the atom using this add and edit panel. Now this add and edit panel we can use for the edit operation as well. Now once we edit, like this is the Genbook, once we click on edit button, this add label will get changed to the update now, and this row will get populated it here. Now instead of Genbook, if we change it like it's a predator, and for this like we can say it's a Acer laptop, and we can say it is 88,000 somewhere, and we can update. Now we can see the record is updated successfully. Seems good. Like this is about updation part. Like we can update it using edit and update button it here. Now next thing, like once we delete any record, like let's say if you want to delete this record, once we can click on the delete button, and once we click on OK, the record will get deleted. Now we can see the 16 record is deleted successfully. This is about all the CRUD operations we are going to implement in this video. Now next thing what we can do here, we can we are going to implement the search filter searching functionality as well. So here we can search on, let's say Mac. Seems good, it is searching for Mac. Now let's say Acer laptop. Okay, now let us search for like Google. Yes, it is showing the Google laptop. Seems good. Now for predator, seems good. Now this is for search functionality which is applicable to all the data. Now Apart from that, we are also going to implement the sorting functionality, which is available for name column, description, and price. Okay, it will the data will get sorted in ascending and descending order based on which column you have selected. So apart from that, we are also going to implement the pagination part. Like here we have this table data. Now we have set 4 records per page. Now once we click on next button, it will show the next 4 page. Likewise, it will keep on showing, and once we reach the last page, the next and last button will get disabled, which is as expected because we do not have any further page to show. Similar way, we once we click on previous button, so it will take us to the previous page. Likewise, it will keep on taking us. Now here the count is 3 out of 4. So once we go to the previous, it will get decreased by 1. Likewise, once we reach on the first page, the first and previous button will get disabled, which is as expected because we are on the first page. Okay. So this is about all the pagination part. Now once we click on last button, it will take us to the last page, and once we click on first page, it will take us to the once we click on first button, it will take us to the first page. This is about all the functionality we are going to implement from scratch. So I will request you to please watch this from start to end so that you will not miss anything in between. Now let us create our backend application using Python, and these are some steps which we are going to implement. Now let us understand what are all prerequisites we need to be ready with. Like first we need to install Python on our system. For that, if you have not installed Python, you can refer this video which will guide you on how to install Python on Windows operating system. Next thing, we need to install Django. It's a framework. We can install it using pip command. Next, we need to install Mongo engine to connect and interact with the MongoDB database. We need this Mongo engine library in Python, and we need to install Django REST framework. This is the web framework which will help us to create and build the REST APIs on the Python backend side. Next, we need to install the MongoDB database, and to create a MongoDB database, we can use MongoDB Compass tool, which will provide the user interface to create a database and do the MongoDB operations. So this is about all the prerequisites we need to be ready with to create our Python backend application. So without any further ado, so let us jump into the coding part. Now this is our project folder. Let us create our backend Python project. Now let me open the VS Code instance using this command. Till the time it opens, let us create a database part. Now this is the MongoDB Compass. Now here we can connect to this local host, and here we can see I have these many databases already created. Now let us create one new database. For that, we can click on this plus button, and here we can give our database name. Let's say atom_db in our case, and here for collection we can give atoms as a collection name. So here we have created our database successfully with name atom_db, and inside this database we have created our collection with name atoms. So this is the atoms collection. Okay, seems good. We have successfully created one database and collection in. Now let us create our to create our backend Python application. First step we can do, we can create our virtual environment, and for that we can use like this command, and we can use this command, and here we can give our virtual environment name. So here you can see it has created one virtual environment folder inside which we have include lib and script as in subfolder, and whatever libraries project specific libraries we install, that will go inside this lib folder. Okay, now this is about the virtual environment project folder creation. Now let us activate this virtual environment. Here we can use activate command. We need to go to the virtual environment folder. Inside that we have script, and we can use activate. Now we can see this virtual environment prompt is appearing, that means it is activated. Why we need a virtual environment? I have created a dedicated video, you can refer that. In simple term I can say, to create a project specific libraries, because whenever we are working on different projects may require different library as and versions, so there should not be any interference in between the library versions in different projects. So for that reason, project specific dependencies we can install inside a virtual environment, which is a recommended approach. Now let us create our Python. So before we create our Python project, so first we can install the dependencies using command npm install. And what all things we require: the Django framework, the Django REST framework, and we require Mongo engine to connect with our MongoDB database. Now once it is installed, you can see all those dependencies inside this lib folder, or we can cross check with piplist command. Here you can see the dependency is getting installed. Yes, you can see this is Django, and Django REST framework will get installed soon. Yes, we can say it is successfully installed. Let me show you what all things are installed. Now we have Django REST framework, and this is the Mongo engine. Seems good. Everything is fine. Now let us create our Python backend project using Django framework. So for that we can use Django admin, and this is the command start project, and here we can give our actual project name, which is in our case, so we can give name like atom underscore service for backend Python project. Now we can see this project is created successfully with all the default files and folder including manage.py. Now let us go to our project folder, and next we are going to create application inside that. So we can use command python manage.py, and this is the start app command, and here we can give our application name. You can give any name, I will keep API. Now here we can see API application is created inside our Python project, which is atom underscore service. So this API, like whatever REST APIs we are going to create on the backend Python side, that will reside inside this application, inside this API folder. Okay, fine. Now next thing what we can do, we are going to create, first we are going to do the configuration, database configuration on the Python side. So let us see what all things we need. Like here we need to make an entry into installed apps, like we are using REST framework as a library, so we need to add that. Next, like we need to include our application, which is API in our case. So this is about installed apps. Similar way here we can go to databases. This is not needed because it is not a relational database. MongoDB, it's a document oriented and NoSQL database. So for that there is a different kind of coding we need to do. Like first we can import our Mongo engine, and we can, okay, so here from Mongo engine, and we are going to import our connect, and we can use connect, and here inside connect we can use database name. What is our database name? It's atom underscore db, and next we are going to use host, and what is our host? Like that is MongoDB. It's a local host, and port number 27017, and after that we can give our database name, which is atom underscore db. Make sure there is no spelling mistake as such. Okay, so let us check this port name and all. So if we can go it here, this is the localhost 27017, and atom underscore db is our database. Seems good. We have configured a database. Now next thing what we can do, we can create a model part. Now let us go to our models, which is at here, and here we can import from Mongo engine, and here we can create our create our atom class. So before we create a atom class, for creating a atom class, like what we are going to do, like whenever we create any object related to atom into MongoDB database, the object will get stored in this format. Like this is the ID, object ID, which has a strong like a long string format, and this is name, description, and price. So this is for the first atom object, and this is for the next atom object. Now what happens, like this is the object ID, which is a long string. What if we want to create an atom ID, which will get incremented by 1 every time we create an atom object into the MongoDB database, like this one, atom ID 1, atom ID 2. So likewise it will keep on indexing and incrementing by 1 every time we create a new atom into the database. So we are going to implement this format. For that we are going to create one custom field with name atom underscore ID. Okay, fine. So for that, first of all, we need to create one class with name counter for auto index creation, and here we can use a document on that. And for this class, like we are going to use one name as a field, and it's a string. It's a string field, and we can say required equal to true. Next, like it should be unique as well. This is for name. Similar way, this is the value, which is the actual sequence, and here it should be int field, and we can use one value which is a default, we can mention as a 0. So this is the counter class with fields name and value. Value is actual sequence, which its initial value is 0, and it will get incremented by 1. Now here we can use some class method, and here we can use one method like get next value, and for this value we have this CLS counter class, and we can use counter name. This is the actual field which will get incremented, auto incremented. Now we can create one constant for counter, and we can call CLS that object dot objects. On this, like we can mention name. For name, it's a counter name, which is the field, and here we can use modify, and we can use assert as true. Next we are going to use new, because every time we create a new object, so new is a true. Increment value. Okay, so what is the increment value? Every time we create an object, the like atom ID should get incremented by 1. Okay, so this is the increment value. If you want to increment by 2, we can mention 2. Likewise, now our requirement is increment by 1, and which is recommended one. Now here we can finally return our counter dot value, which with this, like we will get the actual incremented index. Okay, fine. Now let us create our actual atom class. This is about the counter. Now let us create atom, and me dot it will use me dot document, and here we can use so for this here we can use first atom underscore ID. For this we can use int field, and for this int field we can see unique is equal to true. Next we need to mention what is a default. We can use lambda. For default we can use lambda, and for lambda we can use our counter dot get next val, and inside this we are going to mention what is the exact field which will be considered as an indexed or for auto incrementation. So this is the atom id which we want to be auto incremented. Okay, fine. Now next thing what we can use name. For this we can use some string field, and for this we can use required true, and here we can use like max length is equal to somewhere 100. Now this is about name. Similar way we can add two more fields, one for description, and here this is for price. Now we can align it, and for price we can simply take the integer field, int field. So auto suggestion is not coming. I don't know why it is not coming. Seems good. String field, and this is the price. Now this is about the model creation we are done with. Now let us create one serializer. For that we can create one class like serializer file, like serializers.python file, and inside this like we can use from REST framework, and we can import serializer. Next we can import from models, and our model is atom. Next we can create one class with name atom serializer, and we can use serializers.serializer. Next thing like we can use atom underscore id, which is the first field, and we can use serializers dot integer field, and here we can use like read only as a true. So this is for our atom id. Similar way we can use name. For name we can use serializers dot char field, and here we can use some like max length, which is somewhere 100. So this is for name. Similar way we can add for description, and for description like we can use description, and next field we can use price. This is for price, and for price we are going to use the integer field. So instead of char we can use integer field. That's it. So this is about all the fields which we have mentioned for atom serializer. Next thing like we can define one method for create, like whenever we want to create an atom into the database, that time this method should get used, and here we can use validated data, self instance, and validated data. Now here we can return our atom, and here we can use validated data. That's it. And after this we are going to call save method, so that the atom will get saved into the database. Now with this we are done with our serializer part. Now let us create a view, which is a crucial one. So let us here, first of all we can import from our REST framework dot views, and we are going to use API view. Now we have various options to create a view using the Django REST framework in Python. Like we can use go for function based view, class based view, customs, or the mixin, and model view set. So I have created a number of videos with model view set. That's why I am going to use API view in this video as a view. Now here we can import the REST framework dot response. This is the response. What we have defined, we have created one atom list create API view. Inside that we have passed a API view. Now this class we are going to use for get all atoms and creating a new atom. That for that purpose let us define one method for get, and here we can use self. Next we can add a request, and to this, like, we are going to use our atoms, what we are going to return, which is atoms, and we can see it's atom dot objects dot all. This is the method we can call from atom, and we can use serializers, and this is the atom serializer. And for atom serializer it is going to use atoms, and we can say many is equal to true. That's it. Next thing we can use our we need to return. After this we need to actually return our data. So for that we can use return a response. Inside that we can use serializer dot data. That's it. So this is the response we are going to return for the get method. Similar way we can define one post method, like this is the post. Inside that we have self and our request object, and for post method we are going to use, let us copy this part for serializer. Now here we can use for data, we can use request dot data. This is the atom serializer, Next, here we can check like if serializer dot is valid. If this is valid, in that case we are going to save the data by calling save method on the serializer, and we are going to return the response, and we are going to preparing the response like it's a serializer dot data. After that we are going to set status, and for status we can use like status dot http 201 created. So this is for new atom creation, status for new atom creation. Similar way, if the data is not valid, in that case we are going to return some response. For that reason we can use copy this part, and here you can say here we can use errors, serializer dot errors, and for status we can use like http something like 400 bad request seems good, and we can save it. So this is about get all atoms, and this is about post. We are done with. Now let us save it. Fine. Okay, so there is one more thing, like inside atom we need to add meta, because we have created one collection here, like this is the atoms collection we want to point to, because if you have not given this, this Python application will create a new collection with some name, new name. So if you want to use this existing collection, we need to mention that it here, like this is the meta part, and inside that we can use like collection, and for collection what we are going to mention, ours is items, and after that we are going to use one more thing, like we are going to use indexes, and for that we are going to use like our, what is the field for auto index creation, that is the atom id we are going to pass. So we are going to create this indexes on this atom id field, because we are going to do all the searching and lookup on this atom id, so that to do the lookup faster, so we are going to create this indexes. Okay, fine, seems good. Now let us go to our view part, and here we have created get and post method. Now next thing, we need to add the URLs and configure the URLs. First we can configure application specific URLs, and here like we can add URLs. Now we can use django.urls, and here we can import the path. Next thing, like we are going to import from views, and what is our view name, it's atom list create view. Okay, fine. Now we can add URL patterns inside this array, and we can use path, and inside this we can add what is the path name, starting with our application API, and here is our endpoint atoms, and after this like we can use our atom list create view. This class we are going to use as a view, and here we can give some name for this, like this is for atom and list and create purpose. Fine. Now we can save it. So we have configured the URL for application specific. Similar way we need to configure for project specific. Now here we can simply copy this path, and here we can add our, we need to include our application URL set here. This is the include, and here we can say API.urls, and we can add import for include it here. Seems good. So we have successfully added our application URLs into project URLs. Now let us run our application and check. So we can use Python manage.py and run server. So let us save everything before you do this. Seems good. Now here, this is the view part, we can save it. Now let us run our application and check. Okay, our application has started on this development server. Now we can click on this one. Now here our path starts with API and items. Now let us see, this is the Django REST framework user interface, and right now it is showing empty list because we have not added any record as of now. So let us add one record. Here we can mention the name, font name. We can add one name like let's say MacBook Pro. Next we can add a description, and for description we can add, we can copy this, we can say it's an Apple laptop. Next thing we can add price, and for price we can say somewhere 1.50 lakh, and after this we can complete this. So this is for the record. Let us check by clicking the post method. We can see one record is added successfully. That means our post is working fine. Let us add one more record and check whether the ID is auto incremented by 1 as expected. So for the first record it is auto incremented by 1, that is fine. Now let us add one more entry, like here we can add like Pixel book go, and this is a Google laptop, and we can take price like let's say 1 lakh, and let us post it. Seems good. The next item is created with ID 2. It is getting incremented by 1 every time we create a new item. Now this is working fine. Now let us add one more entry and we can check for our get API. So here we can add like XPS 13, and this is the like Dell laptop, and we can say price somewhere 50,000. Let us post it. Seems good. We have 3 records. Now let us check. These are the 3 records which we have just created. Let us cross check into the database as well. Seems good. We have 3 records. Now let us like check by calling the ID. Now here, okay, now we have not implemented the ID part. We have just implemented for get all items and post our item creation. Now so far it is working. Now let us create our get ID by get by ID and update and delete methods as well. Now this is our item view list. This class is for uh, get and post, get all. Similar way we can create one more class, and this is for item detail view, and inside this we can add API view. Now here we can define one method which is get again, inside which, let me copy this part. Now inside this we have shape request, After that we have primary key pk, and we can say format is equal to none. Now here we want to get the particular object. Okay, so for that first we can use try it here. After that we want to get a particular atom, so for that we need to use atoms dot atom dot objects dot, we can use get. Inside that we can use like our atom id. For atom id it should be look for, and here we can use atom. Now so we have created atom. Now next we can use serializer, and for that we can use atom serializer, inside which we are going to pass this atom. Now next thing, like we are going to return the response, and for response we are going to return like serializer dot data. That's it. Now we have returned try. Similar way we need to add except, and for this we can say if there is no atom, or if it does not exist, we can use like does not exist, and here we can raise the exception like not found, and here we can use detail, can use atom not found, and if you want to add some code we can add code like let's say 404. That's it. Now for this we need to add import, can add from REST framework dot exceptions, and we can import like not found. Okay, seems good. This is for getting a particular atom based on our atom id. Okay, now let us check how it works. Let us add atom id 3. Now first we need to configure the URL for this atom detail view. So let us go to it here, and here we can add, here we can add this atom detail view. We can copy this path and add it here, and here we can add like str, and here is a pk we can add, and we can use atom detail view as a view, and here we can say atom detail. That's it, and we can save it. Now let us check. So this is the third object. Okay, let us see if our application, okay, there is a error. Okay, here we need to add a 1 comma. Fine. Now let us, here we can add our atom. Now we can see it is showing the atom now for second. Seems good. It is giving atom based on atom id. Now next thing what we can do, we can implement our update method. So this is our views, and here similar way we can create one more class for update. Now let us copy some, or let us create one new class. atom update view, and here we can pass API view. We can define one method, and for this we can say it's a put method we are going to use. For that we can add self instance, and we need to add a request primary key format, we can say none. Now next thing, we are going to get the atom. This part we can copy, and after this we are going to use like serializer. We can use atom serializer. Inside this we can pass the atom, and for data we can use request.data, and next for partial we can use false. So this is the serializer for put method, like put method. Next what we can do, like if serializer dot can call is valid method, it here, if everything is fine, then we are going to call the serializer dot save method, like it will save the modified record into the MongoDB side. Next we are going to return some response, like this one we can copy, and here we can say serializer.data, and status we can say same status we can keep for now for update and create. But at here, in case of the data is not valid, so we are going to use bad request kind of status, and here we need to use errors. Seems good, and we can save it. So this is for update atom view update. So for updation we need to do one more thing, like we need to go to our serializer, and here we need to define one more method for update, and here we have self instance, self and instance, and here we can use the validated data. Next for all attributes value in validated data, validated data dot atoms. Okay, for this what we are going to do, like we are going to set attributes, and here we are going to pass the instance, next attributes, and the value. This will set attributes with the value, and next we are going to use like instance dot save method for update, and here we can call the instance. We will return the instance, that's it. So this is for updation we need to add for the atom serialization, so that our update API will get complete. Now let us check by updating one record. Now we can check into the database, we should have 3 records, seems good. Now here we can go for, now for updation we need to configure the URL as well. So for that reason we can copy this part, and we can go to URLs, it's here, and we need to add it here. Now we can copy, and this update view can add it here, and here we can add update URL endpoint ending with slash, and update atom update view as a view, and here we can say atom update. It seems good. Now we can save it. Now let us check on the UI, like this is our all atoms. Now let us check by calling third atom. Now this is the third item, we can copy because we are going to modify it, and here we can call update method on this. Now here we can modify this item 3. Let's say instead of XPS we can use like Zenbook, and like let's Zenbook 13, and this is like Asus laptop, and here we can say price 57,000 somewhere. Seems good. Now let us check. Now it is updated successfully. We can see the record is updated with this URL which we have just added. That means it is working fine, our update. Now let us finally add our delete API. So for that, here this is the item view, item update view. Similar, we can copy it and modify it for the. Now here we can use, instead of update we can say it's a delete view, and here we can use our delete method. For delete method, just this much is enough, and we can add one try. So let us delete this part. We can add try. After that we can add instance, sorry, so we can create one instance, and we can add item dot like objects dot get, or we can say this part we can copy for getting the actual object for the ID, and we can say item dot, we can call delete item dot delete. Now here we need to return the response, and for returning the response we can set some message like we can say item deleted successfully. That's it. After this message we can set some status, and we can say status dot http 204 no content. Seems good. Now next thing, like if there is a like exception, we can use except, and we can say item does not exist. In that case we are going to return a response, and here we can set some message like it's an error, and what message we are going to set, like item not found, and here we can set status like status dot http 404 not found. Seems good. Now this is for item delete view, so we have added it. Now let us add configure the URL for this one in our applications URL. Now let us add it here. Next thing, now let us copy this part, and here we can, this is for delete, here we can add item delete view as a view, and here we can mention name as a item hyphen delete, and we can save it. Now seems good. Now let us check by deleting one entry. Now we have enough entries, like we have 3 entries. Now let us check by deleting the third one. So here let us go to third atom first, so that it will show the delete button, and to show, like, we can call this delete API endpoint. Now here you can see you delete button, you can see. Now once we click on delete button, and we are going to delete the third atom ID. Once we click on delete, now we can see atom deleted successfully. That means the atom is deleted. If you want to cross check, we can see inside list it is showing now 2 records, because third one we have just deleted. Similar way, if you want to cross check into database, we can see we have deleted the third one. Seems good, everything is working fine, all the CRUD operations are working fine. Now let us do one thing, like we are going to create our React.js front-end application, and for that, our Python backend application may show some course origin issue. Just to avoid that course origin issue, we need to handle that part as well. So first of all, we can install one package, like it's a Django course headers. Now we can cross check by calling piplist command, and here this is the package is installed. Now let us go to settings.py, and here first of all we need to make an entry into installed apps, like it's a course headers. Next we need to make an entry into the middleware, and here we can add one entry, like it's a course headers dot middleware dot, we can say, course middleware. Okay, so this is for middleware entry. Now next thing, like we need to enable the course, like we need to add one more entry. It here we can say course allowed origins, and here we can mention, similar way in our Spring Boot application we used to do cross origin, course origin, and in the side that we used to add all the hosts which are going to interact with the backend application. So in our case, our React.js URL, we need to mention which is local host, like 5173. This is the URL we need to configure, because this React.js URL or application is going to interact with our Python backend application. So that's it, we have handled the course related code stuff, so that it should not show the course origin issue. Now let us create our front-end application using React.js, and these are some points and steps which we are going to implement. So in one terminal, we have our Python application running. Similar way, we can create one new terminal for React.js application. We can create our React.js application using command npm create with @latest, and here we can give our application name, like which is atom_web. This is the front end application with name atom_web we are going to create. Now here we can select option like React and JavaScript. Next we can go to our atom web folder, and here we can install the dependencies using command npm install. Now in the left pane you can see, like this atom_web project is created successfully with all the default files and folders including package.json. Now this is the file where it has mentioned everything including the dependencies. Once we add any new package or library, that will get added it here. Now with command npm install, it is installing the packages, and once it is done, we can run our application. Yes, now let us run our application using command npm run dev. Yes, and this is the URL for React.js, and we can open one browser. And we can see our application is running fine. So we have successfully created one React.js application, and we have run it to check whether it is running fine or not. Now let us clear the content from our existing files so that we can make a fresh start. So here this is our Atom web, which is a front-end application. Inside this we can go to app.jsx. Here we can remove everything from here, remove the unused constants and unused imports, and we can save it. Similar way we can remove everything from our app.csx and save it. Next, we can go to atom.index, atom.index.html, and from here we can remove this React.js account. Here we can give some meaningful title, like it's a full stack with React.js, Python, you can say Python Django, and MongoDB database. Now this is the title, and copy it. Now we can go to app.jsx, and here we can create our first div, main div container, and here we can give the class name, and we can give this is related to atom main. Inside that we can add some header, h3 header, and we can add this header, and you will see it is reflecting on the right side. Now next we can create one more div. This is for add and edit panel, and here after this we are going to add one input search. This is for search or filter functionality, and we can say it's an input search. Same we can copy and add it here, and we can add some placeholder. We say search atoms here. You can save it. You can see it is appearing it here. Now we can add some class name for this one, and we can say you see search input. You can save it. Now let us add some small CSS for all these. We can go to CSS part. This is the main div. Next we have h3. Next we have add edit panel. Next we have search input. Now let us add some CSS, we can mention some width, let's say 587 pixel. Next height we can mention fit content. We can add some margin left, let's say 75 pixel. And for now we can save it. Now here For header we can add some color, and this color we can add, seems good. Now add an edit panel, we can add the width same as 587 pixel. Next, for height we can take somewhere 60 pixel. Next, for we can mention some border, 1 pixel solid, and we can add some background color. Seems good, it is showing. Now for search input we can add some margin top, let's say 25 pixel somewhere. Next we can add border, 1 pixel solid. Next we can add border radius, which is 5 pixel, and we can add width, let's say. So this is the width. Next we can add height, seems good. Now let us add some background color as well, and we can take this background color, seems good. Now we have this layout, this is for header, this is for add and edit panel, and this is the search filter. Now let us add some controls inside this add and edit panel. Now inside this we can create one more div, and we can give some class name, like we can say add edit panel div, and inside which first we can add label, and this is for name. This is the first field, which is a name. After this we can add some line break, and here we can add one input text, and it's for name, id is name, and here we can add some class name, add edit input. Now let us add some small CSS part for this one. Now here we can add some CSS for add edit panel div. We can add some margin left as in 5 pixel, and we can use display, it's inline block we can use. Now here we can add edit input, and here for input we can copy this part, and here we can give some width, like let's say 140 pixel, and height we can take like 25 pixel, seems good. And we can add some background color. Okay, so this is for name, this is the label, and this is the input text box. Now similar way we can add 2 more fields, like next is for description. So this is the description, and we can add one more for price. And we can save, it seems good. Now after this we can add one button, and we can name it like add button, and here we can give some class name which like add button, and we can save it. Similar way we can add one more button for cancel. This is for cancel, and here we can give some class name as an cancel button. Seems good. Here add and cancel button is there. Now let us add some small CSS for these two buttons. Now we can copy this border and border, and for width like we can say it's a 60 pixel. We can add some font size, and we can mention font size as an 11 pixel, and line height we can mention 15 pixel. Seems good. Now let us add some margin left which is 5 pixel. Next like we are going to add some background color as well. Now let us take some background color. Seems good. So this is the background color for add. Similar way we can add for cancel button. And here we can set some background color like seems good. Now we have cancel and add button. Okay, we can take it. So this is the add and cancel button. Seems good. Now let us add so this is about add and edit panel we are done with. So next thing what we can do, like we can create one table below this input box. Before this div main div completes, we can add one table, like this is the table. Okay, and here like we can give some class name which is item table, and for table we have two main parts. So one is the t head, next we have t body. For t head we have rows, and for each row we are going to render header. Similar way for body also we have rows, and for each row we are going to render data using td. Now this is the table structure we used to follow everywhere. Now this is in general. Okay, fine. Now next thing, like as we are going to use the react table library, and so that we need to first install that. So let us install it using command npm install. It's a react table library, and we are going to use Axios because we are going to access our backend REST APIs from our front-end application. For that we need Axios library. So let us first add this. Okay, so here some error is coming, so let us use force. Now we can see we can check into our package.json, and here we can see this is the Axios and this is the React table. That means it is installed successfully. Now we are going to use the hooks and functions from React.js, and we are going to render the table, columns and data. For that reason, first we need to import our React table hooks, like use table we are going to use, and it's from React table. Next we are going to import star as React, star as React from our React. Next we are going to import Axios from Axios, and we can save it. Now here we can define one constant, like which will hold our atoms data. So we can say it's atoms, and here we can say set atoms, and we can use state, and we can initialize it with some empty array. Next we need one more constant for columns, and we can use like react.use memo, inside which now here we can add the headers, like what all columns we require. For that we need to follow this structure, like first is a header, and we can say atom id, and after this like we need to add accessor, and for accessor we can say it's an atom id. So this is for atom id. So for accessor we can use, this is the accessor. So this is for first column. Similar way we can add 3 more columns. So this is for name, and here we can mention the accessor as a name, and here we have description, and here we can mention the description part, and this is the price, and we can save it. Now we are done with the header part. Now similar way we need to define one constant for data, and we can use react dot use memo, and here it is going to hold atoms data. That's it. Next we can define one constant for table, and here we can use like use table, and it's a hook, and what it will contain columns, and it will take data. For data we can say it's an atoms, it will hold. Okay, and we are done with this one. Now let us use the hooks available. So instead of table, so we can mention what all functions we are going to use. So here we can use get table props, get table body props, and here we can use like header groups, we have rows, and prepare rows. So this many things we require initially. As we need more things, we will keep on adding. Now let us use this header functions and generate our table. So first of all we can use, so this is the like get table props. After this, like we are going to use inside this, so after this header part, can cut it. So after this header we are going to add, and here we can say header groups dot, we can map on each header groups, header group. We can keep this header group. Okay, and for each header group we can say we are going to render our row. So this part we can cut and edit it here. This is for row, and for each row we are going to use like it's a header dot get header group props, and this is the function, and we are going to use some key as an this h header group dot id. This is the key. Now for this header group we are going to get headers, and for each header we are going to iterate, like let's say it is a column. For each column we are going to render the header part. So this header we can cut and add it here. Now here we can use like the function which is available on column get header props, and for this we can use key which is like column dot id. And to actually render the header part we can use like we are going to render column dot render, and here what we are going to render, it's a header. And what is the header that we have mentioned it here? These are all headers which will get shown on the UI, and these are the accessors. For display purpose this will get shown as a column headers. Now let us save it and check. Okay, now let us run our application using command npm run dev. Okay, so here Axios, here we need to add some codes, seems good. Now let us rerun it again. Yes, we can see it is running fine. Now it is showing all the headers, like these are the headers: item ID, name, description, price. Now it is showing as expected the header part. Similar way we need to render our data part, body part. Okay, so for that we can use the function specific to body get table body props, and here next to this after this like we are going to use row dot, we are going to map on row, and each row we are going to iterate on, and we are going to render the rows part. Okay, so for that we can cut this and add it here. Now here we can use the row specific functions, like before we do this, so this is the tr part. Now before we do this, first of all we need to prepare row. we need to call, and we can pass this row. Next thing, we are going to return the row inside this one. Okay, so now we can cut this row and add inside this. Okay, now here we can use our row specific function, which is row dot get row props, and here we can use key, and for this we can use row dot id. Now here we can use our on row we have cells, and we can map on cell, and for each cell we are going to render the cell part. Okay, for that reason we can cut this and we can edit it here, and here we are going to use the function like on cell get cell props, and here we can add some key as cell.id, and here we are actually going to render our data or cell, and what we can do, we can call cell dot render, and what we are going to render, it's a cell, and we can save it. Now we have successfully added for data rendering part inside body, but it is not showing any data because we have not written any get API as of now. So let us add one get API so that it will show the data. Now we can say get atoms. This is the constant function we can use, and here we can use axios dot get method, and here we can copy the URL which is our backend URL. So this is the backend URL, we can copy it here, and for full path we are going to use API, and after that we have atoms endpoint, and here we can use them, and for response we are going to log the response like response.data, and we are going to set atoms, and here we can add a response.data, and we can save it. Now we are done with our get atoms, but it is not showing data because we need to give a call to this. For that we can use react.useEffect, and here inside this we can give call to get atoms, and we can initialize it with some dependency array, and we can save it. Now we can see it is showing the data. That means our get API is working fine. Now let us add some small CSS part so that it will look good. Now this is our table, so let us copy this part, and we can add some CSS it here. Like for table we can add some, let's say margin top, let's say 12 pixels somewhere. Next we can use width same as the top, like 587 pixel, and we can add height which is fit content. Next we can add border 1 pixel solid. Next we can add border collapse as in collapse. We are adding this collapse because there should not be any redundant borders. Okay, now it seems good. Now let us add some text alignment as a center, and now it is seems good. Now let us add header part CSS. For that what we can do, We can copy this and next font size we can take somewhere 15 pixel and line height we can take like somewhere 18 pixel. We can add some background color, and for this let us take some background color as seems good. It is showing the headers and this one, and let us add some color for headers like not coral. We can take some red, not red, or yellow. Now it seems good. Fine. So this is about header part. Now this is about header part. Now let us add some like tr. We can add for some, we can say nth child, and even color we can add. For every even row we are going to add some background color, and let us take some background color as an coral. Seems good. Now it is showing as expected. So we can remove this. Okay, let it be. So this is the yellow part and seems good. Now it is showing as expected. Now next thing what we can do, like let us create our post API. So once for that, first thing, like once we enter something at here, so that we need to capture in some constant. So let us do that before the post method. Now here we can define one constant. Let's say here we can use like it's atom data, we can name it, and it's a set atom data, and we can use state, and here we can define, initialize it with some blank name. Next we have description, which is again blank, and after that we have our price section, which is again blank. Okay, so this is for atoms. Now let us set this atom data which will hold the data. Now we can copy, and let us go to our input box. So this is for name, and here for value we can use, this is the atom data dot value. Now this is the value, but what if we change something, so it should handle the change event as well, right? So for that reason we can use on change. There is on change event, and here we can say handle change, and this function we can use handle change, and here we have event, and for this handle change we need to set atom data, and here we are going to set atom data, and we can say e dot target dot name, and what we are going to set with like e dot target dot value. So this is what we are going to set. So handle change. Okay, now let us check. Let us click this URL. No, not this. Now we need to click on our, we can copy this URL. Okay, now here we can inspect inside console. Now we can log this change, and we can say atom data. We are going to print atom data. Let us see how it shows it here. Now here we can refresh it. Okay, now let us say something we can add it here, description, price, something number. Now it is calling the onChain just for name because we have not added anything from description and price. So let us add that as well. So this is for name. Similar way we can add for description, and here is our price. Seems good. Now let us check. Now here we can add something, and here we can add price. So accordingly the data will get changed. Okay, seems good. Now we have one constant which will hold the data. Now once we click on add button, this data should get posted. So for that should get post. So for that reason we can go to our add button first, and here we can add on click function, and we can say handle add edit. So this function we are going to use for add and edit purpose. Here we can define some constant, and here we can use like e dot prevent default we can use. Next, like we are going to call, so we can copy this part and edit it here, and instead of get we can use post method, and for post method we need to pass the data as well, which is atom data in our case. Okay, and we don't need to set atom, set here, and just this much is enough. So what we have done, we have called axios, and here we need to use async because we are going to create a new object, and this is the await before axios. So we are calling post, and this is the URL, and this is the new data which we want to create. That's it. Now let us check how it goes. Like we can create one new entry. Now here we can add one entry. Let's say we can take one chain book, and description chain is from Asus, and price we can say let's say 77,000, and we can add. Now we can see it is getting added, but only after we refresh it. Now let us add some code so that we do not need to refresh. We can use some clear all function. So what it will do, so whatever text we enter it here, that will get cleared, as well as it will give a call to our get items method, so that we don't need to refresh our page. This is the clear all, and here we can give call to our get items method, which will return the new list with newly added atom, and here we can set atom data. We want to clear the atom data. For that we can copy this part, and we can initialize with some empty data. Seems good. Now let us add one more entry and check. It should not without refreshing it should the record should get added. So for that we can add like next thing, this is our pixel 2, so like pixel book 2, and here we can add it's a Google laptop and price we can say somewhere 57,000, and we can add. Now it is getting added without even refreshing the page. Seems good. Now our get and post is working fine. Now let us focus on our edit and update, and before we do that we first need to add the update and edit action buttons to our table. Now let us go to our table part, header part, where we are rendering the table. Here we are rendering the header part. So here what we can do, we can add one more header, and this is for edit, and here we can add ID part as well, and we can say it's edit, and we have accessor. After this we are going to add so this is a cell, and for cell we are going to call props. For props on cell, here we are going to use create one button inside this, like this is the button, and for this button we can give some name like it's edit, and we can add some class name for this one like it's edit button. Seems good. Now let us save it and check. It is showing the edit button. Okay, fine. Now similar way we can add one more button, action button, and that is for delete. So accessor, here it should be edit, and here it should be delete, and here button name it's for delete, and the label we can say it's a delete. Now we can save it. Now we can see it is showing, but we need to add some CSS part for this as well. So let us add that. So this is our edit button. Now we can add, so border we can copy. Now here for this we can add some font size, let's say 10 pixel. Line height we can add, let's say 12 pixel, and we can add some width, let's say 50 pixel, and we can add some background color. Background color we can take, now here we can add some border radius and 5 pixels. Seems good. Now here we can take some color, okay, seems good. Or if you want to add some color for this one, okay, so this is for edit. Similar way we can add delete button color, and for background color we can take something different color. And for this one, this background color, we can take some different color. And text color, we can take blue. Now seems good. So this is the edit and this is the delete button. Okay, so this is for, so this is the action button. So we are done with. Now let us add some functionality. Like once we click on edit button, so this row should get populated here. Okay, for the respective fields. Now this is our edit. Now here for edit button, now let us take it take to the down. Now here we can add some on-click functionality for this edit button. So we can say for on-click, like so we can add, and here we can say handle edit, or we can say it's a handle update. Edit seems good because we are just we are going to click on edit button, and here we can say it's a props dot we can call cell on that, and on cell we can call row, and on row we can call the original. Okay, so that's it. Now we can copy this, and we need to define one function constant for this one. And for this it's we are going to capture, so whatever we get on click of edit button, and here we are going to set atom data with this atom. That's it, we can save it. Now let us check how it goes. Now once we click on edit button, now it is getting populated, seems good. This is for pixel book, gen book, seems good, fine. Now it is working as expected. Now next thing what we can do, so once we update it here and add, click on add, so this button should get changed to update once we click on edit button. So let us do that. So this is our add button. So here we can check, like if atom data dot atom id is there, in that case we are going to show update button, or else we are going to show add button. So if id is there, that means the record is already existed, we should show the update button, or else we need to show the add button. Now it is reflecting. Now if we refresh it, it should show add, seems good. Now once we click on this add and update, the same button functionality is there, so we are clicking on the same button for add and update purpose. So let us check our function. We have same function which will handle add and edit part. Now here we can check the condition, if atom data dot atom id is there, so in that case we should go for update part, or else if atom id is not there, in that case we need to go for like new atom creation or post, or we can say create. And the post method is already here, we can cut it and edit it here. Similar way for update, we need to add some code. Now here we can make some changes, like here we are going to add respective put or patch method, and here we can use some backtick, same it here. Now after atoms we are going to pass the actual id. Okay, so which is like atom data dot atom id, and after this like we are going to call the update API. This structure we have maintained on our backend side. So if you want to cross check, like we can go to our application URL, and this is our update. After this id we are going to call the update. Now we have this API ready. Atom data dot atom id. Okay, seems good. Now let us save it. Now let us check how it goes. Now here we have pixel book and chain book. Now let us go to update this, and here we can give some like surface, we can say surface book. We are going to modify this so that and check it's a Microsoft laptop, and we can modify the price, and we can click on update button. And now we can see it is updated successfully. Seems good, that means it is working fine. So our update is working. Now let us check on the backend side. So this is our atom DB, and this is the collection, and here we can find, so this is the surface book and all the records it is showing as expected. Seems good. Now our update is working fine. Now similar way we need to add our delete functionality. Now here we can add on click for delete. So we can copy this part, and we have this delete header. Now before, okay, here we can add on click functionality, and here we can say handle delete, and here we can add one constant function for delete, and we need to use async, and here we need to capture the atom. So whatever we are passing as a row right here, so this row we are passing on click of delete button, this row we want to delete. So we are capturing this row into edit, and we can copy this update code and edit it here. Now we are going to use the respective delete method at here, delete for delete API, and for this here we need to mention delete as an endpoint, and data we do not need to pass because just id is enough. Okay, and we can save it. Now let us check how it goes. Like we have successfully updated last time. Now let us check for delete functionality. We can, so before we do this, let us add some confirmation as well. You can say, so this is the code. We can use window.confirm method, and here we can say, are you sure want to delete, and we can check if is confirmed there only, then once we click on OK button, this means we have clicked OK button on pop-up for delete, then only we need to proceed further. We can cut this part and add it here. Now after this we do not need to refresh. For that we can call window dot location dot reload. That's it. Now let us check our delete functionality. So this is the fifth record. Once we click, so let me go to browser, and from here now we have 4 records. Now this is the fifth atom id. Once we click on delete button, it will ask for delete confirmation. Okay, so it is not getting deleted, so let us check why it is happening like this one. Once we click on delete button, okay, let us check it here on backend side. Invalid literal integer 10 undefined. Okay, so here it is giving the undefined. So here actually we are passing this atom, so we need to use atom dot atom id. Okay, seems good. Now let us check how it goes. Okay, so here now let us check how it work. Like this is the, we can refresh it and we can call the delete, and once we click on OK button, the record is deleted successfully. Seems good. It is working as expected. Now let us cross check into database side. Now it is showing as expected. Now the fifth record we have just deleted. Okay, now it is not showing any error. Seems good. So all our CRUD functionality is working fine. Now let us focus on our pagination part. We are done with our get API, post API, update and delete. Now let us work on the search filter first, and next sorting and pagination part we will implement. Now here first of all we can add our here we can add, can use global filter, we can add, we can, now we are going to implement the search filter or searching functionality on the table. Now here this is the table hook. After this we can add this, and here we can add like set global filter, and here we can define one constant like for as an global filter, and which is a state. Can add this stated here, can save it. Now let us go to our search input box. So this is our search input box, and here we can add for value, we can say we can use global filter, or where is there, when there is no entry it will take all the data like empty, search for empty. Okay, now we need to add on change event as well, like on change. So in that case we are going to use like event, and we are going to use set global filter, and here we are going to use get target dot value. So this is the set global filter we are going to use. So what we have done, so we have this use global filter we are going to use, and we have mentioned inside use table hook, and here like we have defined one global filter constant as well. So this is the global filter, this, and we are setting the value, and this is the on change event. Now let us check how it works. Now let us add one more entry and apply the filter. So let us take one like pixel book 2, and for description we can take its Google laptop, and price we can say somewhere 57,000, and we can add it. Now let us search for the like, yes, we can see it is working for Mac, let's say Apple. Now let us add some something related to circle pixel. Okay, now let us add one more pixel related entry so that we can check for repeated entries. It is pixel book, it's a Go, and it is a Microsoft sorry, Google laptop, and here price we can say 78,000, and we can add it. Okay, now here we can search for pixel, it should show 2 records. Okay, seems good. Now it is working as expected. So our filter is working fine. Now let us add our sorting functionality on table. Okay, so for that we can add one cookit here, like use sort by, and we can copy it and we can add it here inside use table. And we need to go where we are going to render the column. This is the column rendering part, and inside this get header props we need to add something, like we need to add column dot get sort by toggle its props. So this is the function which is available, we need to add. Okay, seems good. Now this is for function. Now let us check for uh, seems good, ascending descending, for this is for description, this is for price. Okay, fine, everything is working fine. Now let us add some arrow functionality, like this is the header part. Now here we can add some arrow functionality. It here we can say column dot is sorted, and like we can use column dot is sorted descending order. If it is in descending order, in that case we are going to show, like we can use Windows colon, and here we can use the up arrow. Okay, so here we can use Windows colon and insert the up arrow it here, seems good. And or else, sorry, here we can add colon, and after that we can add again we can use Windows colon, and we can add the down arrow. Okay, now all whole this whole thing we need to add inside some span, and this is the span start, and inside this we can add this. Seems good. Now let us check how it looks. This is the column dot is sorted, and it is for descending. Okay, so here it should be DSC. Now here it should show the array arrow once we seems good. Now this is for ascending, this is okay, this is in ascending. Now it is showing in ascending and descending. Like this arrow position we can change as we want, like we can cut this and edit it here, and that's it. Now it will show the way we want. Now this is in descending. If you want to make an ascending, we can click and okay, so earlier was fine. This is in ascending. Now we want to make it in descending. Okay, now, okay, so earlier was fine. Now we can save it. Now arrow is showing as expected. So this is for our sorting on column. We are done with. Now let us add our pagination part, and for the pagination part, so we need to add one hook again, like use pagination, and for this we can edit it here. And for pagination, instead of row we can use the page, and we need to render on page instead of row. Okay, and we can save it. Now next thing what we can do, like after this table, we are going to create one div for pagination, and we can call this page div, and here we are going to create one 4 buttons. Now first button, we can say it's first, and here we can add some class name. We can say page div button. So this is for first button. Similar way we can add previous. This is for previous, this is for next, and this is for last, and we can save it. Now seems good, it is showing. Now let us add some small CSS part for this one. So this is the page div. Now we can add some margin top, let's say 5 pixel. Next we can add a page div button related CSS. Now we can add border 1 pixel solid. Next we can use font size 10 pixel. Line height we can take somewhere 12 pixel. Next we can set some width, let's say 45 pixel, and the background color we can take. Okay, fine. Now let us add some margin left as in 5 pixel. Seems good. Now it is showing all the pagination part. Seems good. Now here we can take some lighter color. Now we have all the buttons in place. So now let us add some border radius as well. Border radius 5 pixel. Seems good. Now it is showing as expected. Okay. Let us see by changing this color. Okay, now it seems good. Fine. So this is about table, and this is our pagination buttons we have added. Now next thing what we can do, like let us add the functionality part. Once we click on next button, it should show next page, and once we click on previous button, it should show previous page. Now let us add on click functionality. And on click, so here we can cut it, and we are going to add for next button. this is the on click, and here we can say it's next page it should show, and similar way we can copy and add for previous button, and it should show previous page, and we can save it. Now we need to add this previous page and next page entry in our table hook, use table. So this is the use table. Now here we can add, this is for previous page, and we can add for next page. You can save it. Now let us check how it goes. Now before we do this, like first we need to add few more entries, so let us add that so that we can see the it working fine. Now we can add one MacBook Air, which is Apple laptop. Price we can take something 80,000. Next we can add iMacBook, Apple laptop. Price we can take somewhere, I am taking some random records, idea pad, and this is let's say Lenovo laptop, and price we can say somewhere 67,000. Let us add a few couple of entries, a few more, like we can take XPS, it's Dell, and here price we can say 55,000. Let us add one more entry and we can check. Now we can add Spectre, which is of Asus laptop. Price we can say 1,50,000, and we can add. Now we have few records. Now let us check. 4. Okay, fine. Now let us add so here, now let us check how it goes. Now we need to mention how many page how many atoms we need to show on per page. So for that reason we can set it here. So this is our use table. Here we can mention, like we can use initial state. For that we can use page size, which is 5. Not 5, we need to mention 4, because we have less records and we want to show it. Now it is showing 4 record per page. Now once we click on next button, we have next functionality in place. It is showing next 4 records. Similar way it is showing for previous button. Once we click on, it is showing previous 4 records. Seems good. Next and previous is working. Now in after this previous button, we need to show the page count and page index. So let us add that functionality as well. So after previous, so this is the span, and here we can say it's a page index of, we can say it's a page count, and we need to add these two. And here we can add some class name, like it's an IDX index. Now here we can add page count, and here we can set page index. Seems good, it is of 0. Now what we can do, here our page should start with 1, so not 0 is the index. Seems good, it is showing 1. Let us add some margin left for this IDX. This is the margin left we can add, which is 5 pixel. Seems good. Now it is looking good. Now once we click the next, it should, this count should show 2 of 3 total pages. Okay, seems good. Okay, fine, it is showing as expected. For previous it is showing 2 and 1. Seems good. Now whenever we are on first page, it should disable the first and previous page, and whenever we are on last page, it should disable next and last page. Okay, so let us add that functionality. Now we are on this page. Here we can say we can add disabled, and here we can mention can previous page. If there is no previous page, it should disable. Okay, now we can copy this part and here add for previous button as well. Similar way we can add for next page, and here we can say can next page. We can copy this. Now here we need to add this entry into our table hook. This is the page count. After this we can add, this is for previous page, and similar way we need to add for next page. Seems good. Now let us see. Now we are on the first page, so it is showing the first and previous button as a disabled, which is as expected. Now once we reach the last page, it should disable next and last button, which is as expected. Now once we click on first button, it should take us to the first page, and similar way for last button click, it should take us to the last button. Okay, so let us add that functionality. Now here we can add go to page, copy this, and here is our first button. Now here we can add on click functionality, and here we can say go to page, and here we can say it's a 0 page, it should go. Similar way we can copy this part, and for last page we can say it's a page count, which is a last number of page count -1. Okay, seems good. Now let us see. Once we click on last button, it is taking us to the last page, and once we click on first button, it is taking to the first page. Seems good. It is working as expected. So we have seen everything like CRUD operations include, and searching, sorting, pagination part. I hope you must have enjoyed this video, and please do not forget to like, subscribe and share the same. What all things we have covered in this, like we have successfully created our front-end application using React.js and backend application using Python, and for the database side we have used MongoDB, and we have covered all the functions and features which we have committed before we start this video, like CRUD operations, and along with that we have covered searching, sorting, pagination part as well. Now thank you so much for watching this. Please do not forget to like, subscribe and share.